Warning: the following content is my shit. The opinions expressed by me and my guests are just that, opinions, not dicks. Don't take it so hard. I'm obnoxious and vulgar, so you probably shouldn't let your kids watch my shit. I cuss, I drink, I say whatever I want without any regard to the consequences, and I laugh at inappropriate things. I'm not gonna change now. Don't like it? Fuck off. So, viewer discretion is advised, or whatever.
Freddie got fingered on repeat 100 times in a row.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Titanverse and Titan Uncensored. And this week, one of the good brothers, one of what some might say is the goodest brother, my buddy Aaron. How are you doing, man? What's up?
I'm good, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, we haven't seen each other in a while because the fucking world going to hell.
Yeah, it's been 6 months, 8 months, and before that it had been a while.
Probably like another 6.
Yeah.
When I stopped wrestling, probably.
Yeah.
Last time, I think.
We've seen each other twice in like a year.
I know, it's crazy. That's why when we first got here, I said, I was like, I feel like I don't see anybody anymore.
Right.
Especially, not only with like COVID and all that, but like not being at wrestling as much and stuff like that. So I feel like I don't get to see half the people except for like doing this or,
And for me, it's weird because, I live 2 hours away from all the NWF people. So for those that don't know, I live in Louisville, well, just outside Louisville. So, when I would commute to train, I used to see you guys all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'd come to training and I'd be at training every Tuesday and then we'd have shows on Saturday. So I'd see you guys twice a week.
Yeah.
But now, COVID shut everything down, and I'm not making the drive to training anymore because I work. Well, I do OVW now on Tuesdays, so all of that, and yeah, so I see you guys very, very rarely now.
Yeah. So what's going on? Like, what's new? What's new in the world? I know,
oh my gosh,
you're all over the place with like wrestling and stuff. Like, what's going on?
It's crazy, man. So back in October. Because everything kind of started getting back to shape for what it had been in like June.
Right.
So I've been doing, I was doing IWA and some other stuff. And in October, GCW had the Collective in Indianapolis. And so I got booked on some shows for that. I got booked on Effie's Big Gay Brunch. I did Shimmer. I did Paradigm, some other stuff. Well, my first match of the first show at the Collective, I broke my hand.
That's crazy.
And so I literally, and you can see there's a scar right here. You see that I've still got 2 screws.
That's gnarly.
It took me 4 months basically to recover, and it was a freak accident.
Right.
I basically, when I go to count, I always slide down, and my hand's usually out to the side over here. For some reason, it was here, and when I dropped on my left side, my hand was right under it, and I heard a pop. And I was wearing like black latex gloves at the time. The glove immediately broke.
Oh.
Because my hand swelled up so much.
Fuck.
And it was probably twice the size of what it is now. Like it literally looked like a giant basketball on my hand. So, and this is where it kind of went out of control, where people were like, man, you're a crazy son of a bitch. So I finished the match, and this happened probably 30 seconds into a 20-minute match.
Of course.
The first pin of the match, it was gauntlet match. It was the Twink Gauntlet. So it was like, it was going to go like 20, 25 minutes.
Right.
The first pin of that match is when I heard it. So I finished the rest of this 20-minute match. I don't have any more bookings the rest of the day. So I go to the doctor's office and to an urgent care near the building. And they check it out, they x-ray it, and they're like, you have a fracture.
Ooh.
Your 4th metacarpal is fractured. We're going to put you in a splint, in like a big, and it was a big, long, hard cast. So I had 3 more bookings scheduled on Sunday.
Okay.
I had Black Label Pro, I had Shimmer, and I had Paradigm. All three shows were really important to me. One of the main shows I wanted to get on was Shimmer, and Black Label. I just started working for them. I'd ref their show the week before the Collective. That was my first show I worked for Black Label. So this is only my second show for them. So I wanted to be a part of these shows.
Of course.
So at this point, nobody knows that I've broken my hand.
So when it happened, how fast did it swell up?
Really fast. So
were people like, "What the fuck happened?"
Nobody. So nobody really knew. So what happened was, I walked backstage. I had heard it, and I'm kind of doing one of these numbers, kind of holding it, whatever. And I think the first person that noticed it, I'm pretty sure, was Rebecca, Billy Stark's mom. She's like, "Go get that looked at." I was like, "Okay." So we had an EMS at the building.
Right.
So I walk up to the EMS, and they give me like an ice pack. And they're like, "Here, put this on it." Like, I can't really tell you right now exactly what's wrong with it. So I do that for like an hour or so, go back, it's still swollen up. And the EMS guy's like, "I can't tell you what to do. I'd really go get it looked at." So at this point, I told a couple of people, they knew that I hurt my hand. And I told them, "Hey, I'm going to go get it checked out." So I go get it checked out. At this point, I'm like, well, shit. I got 3 bookings scheduled. And I got a broken hand, and now they put this big-ass cast on me.
Yeah.
I drive back to the building. I literally am sitting in the parking lot of the building, and I remove the cast. God. I take the cast off, and I don't tell anybody that it's fractured. I literally don't tell anybody.
That's crazy.
So Sunday comes, and it's still swelled all to hell. And everybody's like, "Dude, what's?" I was like, it's probably broken. I literally told everybody, well, they couldn't do X-rays on it, but they said it was probably broken. But I don't know for sure. I was like, I got an appointment with a specialist next week. And I'm like, well, take care of yourself. So I was like, okay. So I literally reffed 3 more shows with a broken hand.
That's crazy.
I reffed Black Label. I reffed like 2 matches on Black Label. I reffed a match on Shimmer. And I reffed, I think, 3 matches on Paradigm. The only person who I told that I had a broken hand was Big Mama.
Of course.
We were at Shimmer, and I told her, I was like, can you keep a secret? And she's like, "Yeah, what's up?" Because she knew my hand was hurt. I texted her that I hurt my hand. And I was like, "I know for a fact it's fractured." I was like, "They did an X-ray. It's fractured." And she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't want to miss any of these bookings because I know they all would have told me, right, we don't need it. You heal up or whatever." Paradigm actually tried to pull me off the show.
Because it was swollen?
Yeah. Doug Votov from Paradigm actually tried to. I walked up to him. He's like, "I heard your hand is hurt." I was like, yeah, but it'll be fine. I can make it 3. He's like, "Well, I don't want you to ref." I was like, no, I'm reffing. He's like, "But you don't have to."
Right.
I was like, "But I want to."
Right.
So I did those 3 shows. I went to the doctor, and then a couple people got on Twitter afterwards, and that's when it kind of spread that I had a broken hand and ref 3 shows with a broken hand. Because Sean and Max Recon and a couple others have posted Aaron ref 3 shows with a broken damn hand.
Now, did they know, or were they just they knew it would hurt and they knew it was swollen?
After the weekend, I told them.
Okay.
After the shows were over, towards the end of Paradigm, I started telling people that I trusted.
Right.
I told Max, I told Sean, and I told Big Mama really what was going on.
Right.
They knew that it was broken. Everybody else, I was kind of kayfabing.
Right.
Because I didn't want to get pulled off. So then I go to the doctor and like, "You're going to need surgery."
Oh God. The
timetable for recovery is 8 to 12 weeks. It ended up being almost 4 months of recovery. And because it was just a slow process.
Right.
And once I had the surgery, I decided I am going to listen to the doctor.
Right.
Now, before I had the surgery, I didn't listen to anybody.
Well, yeah, you took the fucking cast off in the parking lot.
I took the cast off in the parking lot. I had another show. I reffed the tryout show for IWA. I reffed like 3 matches on that show. And one of the matches I reffed, that I made sure I reffed, was because they had the thing where everybody would try out, everybody had their matches. There were a lot of NWF guys there.
Right.
And then the fans would choose who got to face Jake Christ at the end of the night.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. Well, the crowd voted for Joe Pro.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I walk up to Sean, and I'm like, Sean, I want the main event. And he's like, you can have it. I was like, cool. He's like, your hand good? I was like, as good as it's going to be.
Yeah, that's fine.
And at this point, I had not a hard cast, but kind of a softer cast.
Right.
So I reffed in a cast.
That's rough.
I actually was supposed to ref at St. Louis Anarchy the Friday before that. I was going to actually Iron Man 2 shows with a cast, a total of like 12 matches. But ended up getting canceled because of COVID. Probably a good thing. Yeah. So the recovery process is obviously going really, really slow.
Right.
And I had 2 choices at that point. I could really just kind of step away from wrestling, or I could see what else I could do.
Right.
And I posted about this on Facebook probably a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Breaking my hand might have been the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
Because during that time, I got to ring announce for IWA. I got to do commentary for IWA. And OVW made me a producer.
Which is awesome.
Which is pretty cool. I sit backstage on a headset. This is crazy. So I'm old enough. I grew up, like, the Attitude Era was my teenage years.
Right.
So 98, 99, those were my teenage years. So every week now at OVW, I've got Al Snow literally sitting behind me, and we are talking to each other the entire show. He's telling me what to tell the director and camera guys, because I've got them in my ear. I've got Al behind me, and I've got either Doug Basham or Amazing Maria next to me, or Adam Revolver agenting the match, talking to the referees and telling me where I need camera shots to be. So I've got all of this going on. It's live TV, so there is no net. So I literally got thrown into that because I told Al, I was like, well, I can't ref, obviously. So I want to do something. I don't want to just not show up.
Right.
Because at that point, I'd only been at OVW for a month or 2. I hadn't been there long.
Right.
So the first week, they had me just at ringside doing ringing the bell. And then Adam Revolver walks up to me after the show. He's like, hey, we might have you do some other stuff, maybe have you do some production. I was like, and my eyes lit up.
Fuck, yeah.
My eyes, like, literally lit up. I was like...
Right, because now you're, like, the camera, like, you're behind all that, like, coordinate, like you said, coordinating all that.
I'm a behind-the-scenes guy.
Right.
And I really am. I love the nuts and bolts of professional wrestling. And so my eyes lit up, and he's like, well, we'll start training you. So here's how the training process went. Literally, Revolver's over here. He was the one that was doing the headset before me. And I was sitting next to him just doing the timekeeping to the refs. So I would just literally tell the ref, hey, 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left. That's all I was doing.
Right.
And then kind of watching to see what he was doing. So I was kind of watching him, but not really watching him.
Right.
About halfway through that show, he takes the headset and puts it on my head and said, this is all yours.
Sink or swim.
Sink or swim. I did the rest of that show. Him and Al both like, you did really, really good. I did it the next week, the week after that. Back in December, I asked Al, hey, I'm probably going to be cleared in January or February. Do you want to keep me as a ref, or you want me to be a ref, or do you want to keep me as a producer? He looked me dead in the eye, and he's like, you are 5 times more valuable to me as a producer than you are a ref.
Right.
And I will jokingly try to quit every week. And he literally has told me, well, you can either come to the shows willingly or in the trunk of my car. It is your choice.
That's great.
But to have Al basically vouch for me,
right,
is
make
like,
you feel needed,
make me feel needed, and
especially it being him.
And like OVW, yeah, and to hear something from somebody that I watched on television,
right, exactly.
Same with Doug Basham, and that's one of the reasons why I got a lot of the NWF guys to come up to OVW. I was like, you guys can learn so much.
Right.
You know, Star Rider's up there now. Swayze, Rex, Ella's been up there sometimes. Selena's been up there sometimes. Nikki's been up there a time or two. So to see people who I work with get a chance to be on a weekly television show is great. And not only be on a weekly television show, but now it's expanding.
Yeah. They're networking.
Yeah, we're networking.
Now, so.
We just started this past Thursday. It's now airing on Fight TV every week.
Nice.
Which is going to make us national. We're already national, but they put it on YouTube every week. It's on YouTube every week. So to see all of that, and I know there's other things in the works.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's really exciting.
So it's been crazy.
That's such a change, like you said, just from going, just reffing, and now you're finding all these other shoes you can fill, and that's awesome because that's the more you can do, the more valuable you are.
Right.
Even I remember when you started training, you didn't want to be a wrestler, you didn't want to do the physical stuff, and that you're finding all these other hats you can wear. That's really cool.
Yeah, and like I've got partnered up with Generation Next Wrestling with Larry D and Max Sled.
Right.
And they had enough confidence in me they basically, and they've told me this multiple times, I'm the voice of their brand.
Nice.
Like I'm their commentator, I'm their backstage interviewer, so I'm kind of the face that people see on that brand, which is like super cool.
Right.
To see people like Al Snow, Larry D, all these guys have faith enough in me to put me forward like that is pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's validating once you.
It really is, and like when I got into wrestling, like you said, it was reffing or bust.
Right.
Like it really was, and that's all I wanted to do was ref. I didn't want to do anything else. But now I've done different things. I've done like the on-air role with NWF a couple times. Yeah. Where I did like the commissioner type role. I won't say I was a commissioner, but I would come out and make announcements and matches and that kind of stuff. I'm kind of in a suit and tie, and I hosted Bustin' Loose a couple times. So doing stuff like that is just different. Yeah. It's definitely out of my wheelhouse. Yeah. But I'm getting more comfortable with it.
Right. Especially when you don't think you're going to do it or you don't have no plan to do it. Like when I started training, that was like, I'm going to be a wrestler. I'm going to be a wrestler. Right. And I reffed for so long, and we would go to shows, and there wouldn't be we only need half the roster because it's 4 hours. We'd do these shows, and Roger would be like, all right, you're announcing tonight, and I'd be like, what? That's why I would have to announce. And it's weird because it's that feeling of like sink or swim. It's not, hey, would you want to do this in a couple of weeks? It's, oh, this is what you're doing tonight. Oh, okay. Hello, everyone.
And the weird thing, especially with Generation Next, with these shows that I've been doing solo commentary.
Right.
So the solo is weird. I have a whole new respect for Joey Styles because being able to do solo commentary, you have nothing to feed off of. Right. Like it's just I'm watching the action and I'm just trying to call what I see without calling it move for move. Right. And because I am very much trying to be more of a storyteller. I don't want to be the guy I'm not going to be the guy that calls every single move that happens. Yeah. There's hip toss. There's one. Yeah, because in my opinion, you're watching the show. Right. Like you can see what's going on. Now, if it's like a finisher or a big move, I'm probably going to call that. But I was always drawn to announcers that told you why the characters were fighting. Right. Why is there beef? So guys like Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, I always joked that if you couldn't see what was going on when Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon were commentating, you never would know what's happening in the match. You would have no clue. You might know who won or lost, but that would be it. Right. You would know zero of the moves.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
But it was entertaining as hell. Mm-hmm. Bobby Heenan is probably my favorite commentator of all time. Really? His wit. Yeah. His jokes. And I'll never forget one of the things that stuck with me as far as jokes. He was on Primetime Wrestling when they used to Primetime Wrestling. He was talking to some guy in the crowd. And he asked the guy, he was like, well, how long have you been married? He's like, 15 years. And Bobby Heenan, deadpan as can be, looks right at the guy. Do you realize if you had killed her on your wedding night, you'd be out by now? And like just stuff like that. He was a genius.
Can you imagine if somebody said that like now?
Right. Exactly. No, the culture is way different. And like
a lot of those guys couldn't, like, especially like you talking about the Attitude Era. One of my favorite commentators was always Lawler, and the Attitude Era. Attitude Era Lawler could not be on TV right now.
No, he'd be canceled.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He'd be canceled. Puppies.
Yeah. Puppies alone. That's just disrespectful. That's derogatory.
Yeah.
That would cause, if he even said it once, it would probably freak out. You've never seen it like the packages or anything.
No.
They show that stuff because like,
and it's the same thing with like not just wrestling, but like old movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, could you imagine Blazing Saddles being released now?
Yeah.
Like,
I always see that comparison when like they talk about like Disney has like hints of like racism and stuff. I'm like, y'all clearly have never seen like Blazing Saddles,
right? Or basically any Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of the stuff, the Naked Gun movies.
Yeah.
They're like, there's a lot, and I'll see.
Even like the 80s, like I think it was it Revenge of the Nerds, like where he dresses up as the girl, as the boyfriend, dresses up like Darth Vader and has sex with the lights off. Like that would be. And
a lot of movies used to use the word, the R word when it comes to talking about special people.
Retarded.
Yeah.
This is Titan Uncensored. I say whatever I want.
All right, so fine.
I grew up, like, man, you're fucking retarded. Man, you're fucking
exactly.
Gay. And when you're a kid in the 90s, and stuff, like, those words weren't derogatory towards whatever it was. It wasn't derogatory towards special needs people or homosexuals. It was just, it would be, I feel like it'd be more offensive. I'd be more offended if someone looked at me and said, "Man, you're mentally challenged. What's wrong with you?"
Right.
I would be like, "What?" But if you go, Nick, stop being retarded, I would be like, "Oh, my bad."
It's more about the intent.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets lost.
And I get it, but like, again, back in our day, it wasn't about that intent.
Oh my God! Back in the '80s, because I'm an '80s guy, so I'm an '80s baby. I was born in '83, so I lived through the '80s. I lived through the '90s, and to see what happened then to what happens now,
right?
It is just way
crazy to see.
Just the way that people are portrayed.
Yeah.
Even the way, like, I'll go back and watch the way, like, women are portrayed, like, now, and the way they were portrayed, like, back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
It's like, there was nowhere near the level of respect back then that there is now. As far as what women can and can't do, even in wrestling. Like wrestling has just, and that didn't even start to probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah, like even when women became wrestlers, it still took a long time for them to be,
like even when even Trish and Lita, when they were there, they were still doing the bra and panties.
Yeah, they would have like one wrestling match, and then it was like bra and panties, pillow fight, lingerie, like
same with the Bellas. The Bellas.
They came in towards the back of that.
Yeah, they were still doing like the swimsuit contests, and
I think that's how they came in the Diva search.
Yeah, the Halloween costume contests and all this stuff. So none of that really changed until kind of NXT came along. And then with Sasha and Bayley and all that. But
they finally got to start showing that women are just as good. And like
sometimes better.
Yeah, there's women that I would rather watch than the men.
Like, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but this past week, freaking Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker,
I've just seen the clips,
beat the ever-loving shit out of each other.
I saw the clips. And
I don't watch a ton of AEW,
right?
But that is probably the best AEW match I have seen. Period, man or woman.
Right.
Like it was, and it's the most brutal women's match I've seen since probably Charlotte and Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
because they beat the crap out of each other. I remember that match vividly. But yeah, they because you don't see women bleed.
Right,
like that's one thing you don't see, and they bled buckets.
Yeah,
like Britt and Rosa bled like crazy, and it was just intense. And from start to finish, it is a must-watch.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a huge AEW guy, and I thought it would be really, really, really good.
Right.
And it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, and that's always awesome.
Yeah, but you never would have seen a match like that 10 years ago.
No.
Never. Women never, let alone would have never main evented.
Yeah. Yeah, that's even like a new thing. And it's cool to see that. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like in the 90s,
right?
That's like the Attitude Era with like the bra and panties and stuff like that. That's just what it was.
Right.
The girls that are like huge now, that are like they would not work to a 90s Attitude Era-esque crowd. Right. They did not want to see that. No. And that's I don't think that's just wrestling. I think that's just the times.
Agreed.
That back when Raw moved over to Spike and that was a channel. It was just men's show. You know, the man show was a thing. So it was like that was just what it was.
Yeah, they were the bathroom break.
Yeah,
like they were the popcorn match or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
To where that was the time where you would go and see
stretch your legs, get
whatever you wanted.
Right.
And now it's where, oh my God, I got to see that.
Yeah.
And it's not just WWE. It's not just AEW. It's indie wrestling as well. Like women are actually athletes.
Right.
I always had a different mindset because I grew up. Most of my friends growing up were women.
Right. So
I had a different appreciation and respect for women growing up, I guess. Whereas a lot of people might have just been hanging out with their boys or whatever, where it was okay to kind of degrade or whatever. And not saying that all my friends would degrade women, because that's not not what I mean.
Yeah, but it's that guy thing.
Exactly.
Look at her tits. You know what I mean?
Right. It's very much the macho kind of thing.
Yeah.
I never grew up in that environment. It's weird. It's always been weird for me. I've never been as comfortable hanging out with a group of guys as I would be like a group of females.
Right.
Like, for the females, it's weird, like saying I would be just one of the girls.
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird concept. And
that was probably how it was.
And that was how it was. And like guys would be like, oh, you're a wimp. You're just a pansy because you hang out with women. No, I'm their friend. I understand that, I appreciate what they're, and we were able to talk. And I was literally, in high school, I was friends with basically all the cheerleaders and all of the, like, quote unquote hot women.
Right.
I was always their best friend because I was always safe.
Right.
Like, they knew talking to me or being around me, nothing bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to respect them. I'm going to treat them with class. I'm not going to make a move. I'm not going to come on to them.
Right.
Because sometimes I would be scared just talking to women.
Right.
Let alone trying to make a move.
Yeah.
So it's a very different mindset.
It was probably also because that probably was relaxing also to some aspect for you because you didn't feel that pressure. You knew you could be that guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were just hanging out with the girls to like fucking be weird. You were just, there was no pressure. So, and that probably took some of that, I don't want to talk to girls feeling away. Because I was definitely that. I was hanging with the dudes. If there was a girl there, even if there was nothing, I was always uncomfortable. Like, I was just the weirdest, like, little, hey, girl. Like,
Oh, yeah, I would never walk up to a stranger. Like, a strange girl at a bar or something and be like, hey.
Buy a drink. How you doing?
Yeah, right. I'm never that guy. Literally, every relationship I've been in, they made the first move.
Right.
Like, I've never been the guy that made the first move. It's a different mindset, and some people are like that.
There are definitely girls that even to this day that I'm friends with girls, and it is like a non thing, and it's I'm sure you probably got a lot in that situation. I get so annoyed when people are like, oh, so and so I am. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my girl, man. We're cool, and it's like, oh, did you fuck her? And I'm like, no, why not? I'm like, oh, it's just like
that's not how it is.
She's a good looking girl, yeah, but like, I don't, I'm not. Where that's just like, it's not how you think of it. Like,
no, you don't think of it that way. You don't.
Like, you're not allowed to be a dude and a girl and be friends, and like people don't assume.
Yeah, exactly. and it's that whole culture. And I think it's more acceptable now.
Yeah, it's way better now.
Yeah, than it was in like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Because back then, it's like when I was in high school, because I graduated in 01.
Okay.
So I was 98, 99, 2000, 01. That was my high school years. So back then, if you were like hanging around with girls, they automatically assumed you were sleeping with them.
Right.
Like, at least one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe all of them. But like you were at least sleeping with one of them.
Yeah, like something's going on.
Like something's going on with that guy.
Yeah.
He's a player, man. He's a player. And a lot of that is my upbringing with my mom and my grandmother, because you never disrespected women.
Yeah.
Ever. Because they were two of the nicest people you ever want to meet, but they will whip your ass if you get out of line. Because I'll never forget my grandmother. We had come home. She had taken my brother and I out, and she wouldn't buy him something. I don't even remember what it was, some kind of toy or something. So we get home. She drops us off at my mom's house. I give her a hug, and I go upstairs to play or whatever. So she's like, "Come here, Brian. Come give Grandma a hug." He comes. He gives her a hug. And then as he's literally running away, he kind of mouths out, "Bitch." She charged. He didn't get barely halfway up the stairs before she caught him, pulled him down the stairs, and smacked him right across the face, backhanded him. And again, different time.
Right.
Because that's in like the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like a different time. But back now, what, friggin' phone call to child services. Yeah. But no, she backhanded him, and he ran upstairs crying. And my stepdad walked over to her and was like, man, I hope I never make you mad. So it's stuff like that. Again, a different upbringing, a different mindset of I always had that ingrained in my head. You respect everybody, always grow up on the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Yep. And I think some people forget that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people forget that. And especially now with social media, which is so toxic.
Yeah.
It literally is toxic. And especially, wrestling Twitter might be the most toxic thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be good things coming of it. Like, people can get noticed that way. Yeah. You meet people that way. But
5% okay.
Maybe 5%. And that might even be stretching it.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you were talking about basically canceling cancel culture.
Yeah.
And how ridiculous cancel culture is. Right. Because it started out as one thing.
Right.
It started out
more as somebody even referred to it as like accountability culture.
Yes.
Being accountable for things you say and do.
Right.
And now it's just like you're not allowed to have an opinion. And that's my thing.
Right.
I don't advocate anything, fucking anything people get canceled for. Like, yeah, they said a shitty thing.
Yeah.
But like, in my biggest gripe with cancel culture is it's also like on their personal social media.
Yes.
Like, I think, like you said, social media is toxic because it gives everybody a voice and everybody an opinion, and not that everybody doesn't matter, but like, it doesn't need to be out there. And, people get chastised and canceled for, like, pretty much just, like, being themselves, and even if they're a shitbag, like, even if it's a shitty thing,
And it has turned more out...
This is the country, the free home of the brave.
And it has turned more out of from... oh, they're a bad person, to just people holding grudges and using it as a witch hunt.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen a lot of that where it's just like, I don't like you, so I'm going to find every single way I can to come after you and try to get you canceled.
And social media is easy because it fucking everything is there. You go on somebody's Twitter and you disagree with them today, you could probably go on their Twitter and look back 2 years and find, or 10 years now.
And find something,
Yeah, and that's usually what happens is fucking people, oh, well, in 2005.
Yeah, and like, when all the speaking out and all that stuff was happening, someone found a video clip of Excalibur from like 15 years ago, and he used the N-word, which again, not okay,
right.
But at that time frame, and then the promotion he was working for, because it was out in California, I can't remember the name of the promotion, because the same promotion Kevin Owens worked for too, and he had said he had got called out for something too, and I'm just like, guys, it's 15 years ago.
Yeah, and especially like you said, like Kevin Owens, like when he was on the Indies, he really hit. I was surprised when he got like signed because he was so extreme.
Yes.
His promos, everywhere he went, his promos were fuck you, suck my dick, you're a piece of shit, and I loved him. I loved fucking Kevin Steen.
Oh, he was great.
And so when he got signed, it was like he was really on that cusp before, and I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm surprised like some of his stuff hasn't gotten hit. I on TikTok, my highest video on TikTok, all my videos on TikTok have like 200 views. Right. And I have one that has 12,000 views. And it's one of those like I think it's like what's your favorite wrestling promo or something like that. Yeah. And it cuts and it's a Kevin Owens promo with him, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks. And I think Adam Cole had just turned heel or something, and it was like PWG. And it's like, you're a piece of shit.
That's the company it was. It was PWG.
PWG was fucking wild.
Yeah, and that's where the Excalibur promo was from. That's where the Kevin Owens one was from. Yeah. And like his whole thing on the Indies was kill Steen, kill.
Yeah.
Kill Steen, kill. So it's like. Yep. I'm like you. I was really surprised when he got signed, but I was happy as hell. Oh
yeah. I fucking
happy as hell for him.
And I was like, I get all the comments. It has fucking 12,000 views, and now a couple thousand comments, and all these people are like, "What is this? Oh my god, is that Adam Cole? Is this Kevin Owens?" Like all these people are like, no idea what the fuck it is, right? Because it was from like you said, like 10 or 15 years ago, probably like 10, I guess, at this point.
And back back then it wasn't as accessible. Yeah. So now stuff like that is getting posted on YouTube. Yeah. from people that either have like the DVD of it or whatever from back in the day, and they're sharing it on YouTube. So a lot of people now are seeing that stuff for the first time.
Yeah.
They've never seen it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of indie wrestling back in, like you can go back and try to find a lot of like 02, 03 ROH.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who haven't seen that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, they don't realize how good Samoa Joe really was.
Yeah.
How good Daniel Bryan really was.
Yeah,
like,
he's still awesome. But man, like Daniel Bryan, like early 2000s, Daniel Bryan was so fucking good.
Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah.
Like, Nigel was fantastic.
Cesaro, when he was on the air with Claudio.
Yep.
He was one of my favorites.
One of my favorite things I ever got to see. I went my first WrestleMania. I went to WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta, and I went to ROH with my dad. And one of the matches we got to see was Kings of Wrestling, Claudio and Chris Hero, against Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, the world's greatest tag team. And that match was fire. Absolute fire. And before the show, I got to meet Dutch Mantel. He was just hanging out in the lobby.
Nice.
And got to meet him. And it was freaking great.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. A lot of those guys now who are just now really getting popular mainstream, like they were good fucking so long ago.
Yes. Man. And had social, and we talk about social media. Had social media been around in the 2000s, these guys probably wouldn't be getting signed in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
they would have been getting signed in their 20s.
Yeah.
But there just wasn't. You had you had to go. WWE would have to send somebody.
Yeah, you'd have to be at a show.
Yeah, to go scout this guy, or you'd have to physically put a DVD together, or put a tape together, and send it to WWE and mail it to them.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't just send somebody a link.
Yeah, or an email or
right. And back then,
to be on the hashtag that's trending.
I still remember the first time I ever had internet was American Online.
Oh yeah,
and
6K modem, you could get on the phone,
and dial up, and I remember the first thing I did was get on WWF on America Online, and you would log in, and you had Vince McMahon pipe up like, "Welcome to the World Wrestling Federation on American Online," and
how 90s is that?
Yeah, that was like 95, 96, and that's how you got your news.
Yeah,
like through freaking the internet, and before that, it was you would have to watch WWE or WCW on Saturday morning or Saturday night and be like, okay, what happened?
Get all the books.
The week before. Yeah, get all the wrestling.
For a while, those hotlines and shit.
Yeah, hotlines. Wrestling magazines were big. I used to get the Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah.
And I used to have a subscription to WWF magazine. Yeah. Then WCW started doing their magazine.
I was just in my basement right now. I was going through some stuff, looking for something random, and I came across a stack of WoW magazines, the wrestling magazines, like that were like this fucking thick.
I remember
I had like 5 or 6 of them in my fucking basement.
They were good stuff.
Yeah.
I love the WoW. I remember always buying those.
Yeah, 'cause that was every fucking.
They covered everything, and they had like the full pictures.
Yeah.
They were more colorful than Pro Wrestling Illustrated. The material, like it was a thicker book.
Yeah, it was a fucking book.
Like it was like a thick book, so it wouldn't get destroyed as easily. Like Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they would start to rip after a while because it's a thin newspaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just growing up, I accessed wrestling differently, than I do now. And I saw
it's at the palm of your hand,
right? Now
your phone,
and I sound so old when I say this, but kids now don't understand.
Kids, they have it, man.
Right? They really do, because literally you would have to search for wrestling.
Yeah.
Like literally physically search. If you didn't know what time it was on, you'd have to look at the TV guide. And for those you don't know, TV guide is a little book, come in the mail, they send it to you every week, tells you what's on TV that coming week. Or you can go to the newsstand and buy it.
Yeah.
Or they would post the TV lineup in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Sunday newspaper would have the TV lineup for the week.
I always grew up with the channels, like Channel 1, and it was a constant scrolling guide.
Yeah, see, I'm even before that. Like I'm all newspapers and TV guide. We didn't get that fancy stuff until later on.
Yeah.
And then when we had Comcast, they had a video game channel that you could subscribe to and play video games on a particular channel. And I don't remember the name of the service, but it was a video game channel, and you just literally subscribe to it. It was like $10 a month, and you just play like Sega video games or whatever on that channel.
God, I feel like I didn't know about this channel.
Right?
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, no, it was a thing. Like, it definitely was a thing. And I remember when WWE, before the network, had 24/7 on.
I remember that. I do remember that.
That was also its own channel.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like now where you could pick what you watched.
Right.
They just had, it was just wrestling all the time.
Yeah,
but they picked whatever they wanted to show you.
Yeah, I remember I was pumped about that when I was the thing.
And that was like $10. My parents hated me because I wanted all this extra stuff. I wanted WWE 24/7. I wanted the video game channel. I had an Atari.
Yeah, I had an Atari.
The first video game I ever got for Christmas was a Nintendo. And I remember my mom was videotaping it. And I'm like, I open it up, and I'm like, and I hold it. And the box was big. Like, it was a huge box. For those who've never seen it, it's a huge box. And I was like, I lift up, I'm like, it's a Nintendo! And I fall back on the couch. Yeah, onto the couch. Onto the couch. With the Nintendo, I fell backwards. Because the box was so heavy, I wasn't ready. But yeah, video games, movies, everything has just evolved so much. It's all at the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
And it's just, my mindset is just different.
Right.
And it's everybody's mindset is different because it's just upbringing, what period of time you grew up in, what you grew up around, what you had access to. Like, my parents didn't care what I watched.
Right.
Like, I watched The Exorcist when I was like 8 years old.
Right.
And I loved The Exorcist.
Right.
Gave me nightmares.
That's how I was with Child's Play.
Child's Play, I grew up with Freddy.
Yeah.
My only biggest regret is I'm not old enough to have seen the first Star Wars in theaters. Did you ever go when they re-released it?
I
did when they re-released,
right.
But I would have loved to have been there on like
the first time.
Yeah, the first time. Like, I would have loved to have been there because I saw when they did the Phantom Menace, when they did Attack of the Clones, God help me, and when they did Revenge of the Sith. I went to all 3 midnights of those.
Nice.
Same with Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, which is a good movie. I will still argue that to this point. Kiss my ass if you don't agree.
So do you think the sequel trilogy or the prequel trilogy is better? You think the sequels, right?
Oh, the Disneys are great.
Really?
I
don't hate any Star Wars.
Right,
I love them all, and I am a huge fucking mark for the prequels. I love them.
They are good.
I love them. You know what? I even love Jar Jar Binks. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I don't feel, I'm indifferent about Jar Jar. Like, he's a side character.
Right.
It'd been different if he was like a main character. Yeah. He was a side character. But I will say the one thing, the fight scene in Revenge of the Sith with Anakin and Obi-Wan makes all the prequels worth it.
Yeah.
That fight scene is maybe my favorite fight scene in the Star Wars series overall.
Maybe. What beats it for you? My favorite one is the fucking Duel of Fates.
Right.
Darth Maul for his big fight.
Darth is great, but I will say Luke and Darth from Empire.
Okay.
When Luke loses his arm. Loses his hand. That one is epic. And again, it's from when I grew up. Because I was like 6, 7 when I saw that for the first time. I
think that one has like that gets the emotion.
Yes.
That will never be recreated, and the peak, of course, was I Am Your Father.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that topped off that fight.
That whole scene.
There was nothing that would ever recapture that because that was like a fucking mindfuck.
Yeah.
And like even now, you know, if a kid now loves Star Wars, is getting into Star Wars, like. Fucking the first rule in the Star Wars book everyone knows by now is that, you know, Darth is Luke's father.
Right.
You never will have that genuine, what the fuck?
Right.
After that fight. Like, nothing has ever... Even when they try to recreate it with, like, the whole, like, Palpatine angle and all that.
It's
like,
not the same.
Oh, that's cool. But, like, that... I remember the first time I saw that. You know, I was a kid. We had it on VHS. And that blew my mind.
And that's another thing that we kind of miss. If you don't agree with everybody's opinion on a movie, if they're like, "Oh, that movie sucked," you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Instead of, "Oh, I didn't like that movie, but you liked it." That's fine. Everything in our culture, from if you don't have the same cell phone as me, if you don't like the same video game system that I do, if it's the same movie, like, go fuck yourself. You're an idiot.
So I had someone in here and we were talking about something, and I'm actually still editing it. It comes out Monday, and by the time this comes out, it would already be out. So it's probably last week's episode.
Gobble me, swallow me, my whole fucking dick, dude. That's ridiculous. You know you're wrong, and all you trolls out there that say it's boring and it's just walking, you know you're lying to yourself. Aaron Greider, I'm talking to you. So
Rex was on here, and he had a lot to say about Lord of the Rings.
Yes!
And,
I'm ready for this!
And he went on like a tangent, like, anyone says they're boring, they're fucking da-da-da. He's like, they're wrong, fuck you. And he's like, talking to you, Aaron.
Yep.
So I was like, I need to know what Aaron thinks.
So he called me out.
Yeah.
He called me out. So Rex, I would like you to know, Lord of the Rings is an overrated piece of garbage, and there is nothing redeemable about it other than the fact that it is a fantastic cure for insomnia.
Oh my God.
If you ever want to fall asleep and wonder what a big heaping trash of people walking around for 3 hours accomplishing nothing is, then watch Lord of the Rings.
Even the fucking trees walked in those movies.
If you want to be entertained, then literally watch any movie ever. Any other movie ever. I would rather watch Freddy Got Fingered on repeat 100 times in a row.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have some work to do. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages?
I would rather watch the 1998 Godzilla 500 times in a row.
God, that was so bad.
I would rather watch Attack of the Clones, literally my least favorite Star Wars movie, 1,000 times in a row. You couldn't pay me enough money to sit in a room and watch all of the Lord of the Rings movies again. Like, literally, you could not. Like, you could pay me, and you could be like, hey, I'm going to give you these movies to watch, and I would want my money back. I would somehow want a refund. Like, I don't get the fascination with the movies. They are too long. And then, now we have extended editions.
Yeah. Oh, he talked about, he said at least once a month he watches the trilogy, the extended editions.
You know, I wish Rex had, less free time so he wouldn't have to subject himself to bad movies. And it also comes to the fact that Peter Jackson is a sore spot with me because he ruined King Kong. So when you fuck up King Kong, I automatically hate you. I would rather watch King Kong again than watch the Lord of the Rings movies, any of them. They are terrible. Rex, you should be ashamed of yourself. I know you're not, but that's okay. They are a steaming, heaping pile of monkey crap.
So you like them a little bit.
There's several movies that people love that I'm just don't like.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just have everybody hate me. So Pulp Fiction,
dude.
Sorry, I don't.
I had the wallet.
I know. I'm sorry.
You can't bash Quentin Tarantino.
I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying it's not for me.
All right. What else?
Napoleon Dynamite. I don't get it. It's not funny.
I enjoy them enjoyed it, but
The Office. I don't understand how a show with so. I'll answer that in a second. I don't understand how a show with so many funny people cannot be funny. Let me finish, Titan. And the best part about The Office is the theme song. And then, as the saying goes, then the bell rings and the show starts and it's all downhill from there. And yes, I'm a Friends guy. Just so you know, I do like Friends.
Make me sick.
I also don't like 300.
The movie?
I didn't like the movie 300. All the battle scenes were the same to me. I actually fell asleep during 300. Oh my God. I fell asleep during 300. But yeah, I don't hate Pulp Fiction. I've actually never seen it all the way through. I've tried watching it 3 different times, and I can't make it all the way through. I like other Tarantino movies. I like Inglourious Bastards. Love Inglourious Bastards. First Kill Bill I really enjoyed. Didn't like the second one. First one's really good.
Reservoir Dogs?
Reservoir Dogs, yes. Reservoir Dogs, yeah. I've only seen it once, maybe twice, so I might have to go back and watch it.
That's fair.
But I remember enjoying it. I didn't like Django.
Django's one of my favorites.
Django's good, but I thought it got hyped up too much.
I could see that.
And there are just a lot of random movies that I'll watch like over and over again.
Yeah. Same.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah.
Sideways. If you've never seen Sideways, it's got Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church in it.
No.
They go to white wine country. It is hilarious. It's really funny. Definitely check that one out. All the Major League movies. Every single one of them.
Yeah, I like Major League.
Necessary Roughness. Blues Brothers is great.
I've never seen Blues Brothers.
Okay, so you need to go watch Blues Brothers immediately. It is what service did I watch it on? Because it's on one of the streaming services. I've got so many damn streaming services now I can't keep track.
I'm not sure what's which.
I think it's on. I think it's on Stars.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on Stars. I've only got Stars because my mom has it and she shared her password with me.
Right.
But in fairness, I share my password for Netflix and Disney Plus with her, so we're even. So kiss my ass if you think I'm freeloading.
I don't judge.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. We can still be friends.
Yeah, we're still friends.
We're still friends, even though. See how this works, ladies and gentlemen?
Being an adult.
Right? We're not canceling each other.
Stop being a pussy. Grow up.
Rex hasn't canceled me, although he might after he sees this.
Yeah.
I mean, because I did call Lord of the Rings a steaming pile of monkey crap. And I did say it was a cure for insomnia.
It's not. Well, I have insomnia, but I've actually never watched it. I'm trying to go to bed. Maybe I should.
Maybe you should. You'll fall asleep. You might not make it 20 minutes through.
It's true.
Like, it's a lot. Now, it's a lot of walking, so I'm sure they got great exercise filming the movie. That's probably why Elijah Wood was in such good shape.
Also, Rex, that.
Yeah,
it's not just about walking.
But it is. It is. It's like an hour and a half of walking. I love Disney Plus.
Yeah, same.
I have not watched WandaVision. I've heard good things about it. I want to check out Falcon and Winter Soldier because that debuted this week.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. I just watched. I was going to watch that last night, and then I ended up trying to watch the Zack Snyder Justice League. And
it's 4 hours long.
I watched about an hour, and then I went and saw Dustin.
Yep.
And then when I came home later that day, like last night, I was like, I'm gonna finish it. And I watched like another hour of it, and then I woke up today and with my coffee and like just kind of getting. I was texting you and stuff. I was like finishing it.
Yeah, I don't have HBO Max, so maybe I'll share their password with me. Feel free. But I'm not going to pay for HBO Max. I've got too many streaming services as it is. I've got like 5 or 6 different streaming services, and all I do at night, I'm like, hey, I want to watch something.
I just scroll.
Oh, I've seen this before. I know this is good.
We'll watch Joe Dirt.
I'm gonna watch Major League for like the 100th time. Watch Blues Brothers for the 100th. And there's so much stuff on Netflix that I want to watch.
Yeah.
So much stuff on Hulu that I want to watch. Stuff on I now have Paramount Plus because they ran a killer deal.
Yeah.
So I got $30 for a year.
Nice.
So I watched the documentary they have called Console Wars.
Okay.
Talks about Sega Genesis trying to take out Nintendo in like the 90s. So good. If you're into video games, I know you are.
Of course.
Check it out. It's really, really good. Really good stuff.
There's a lot of stuff, especially like I said, with having all the streaming services. Like I had HBO, so I've never watched Sopranos, and I really want to watch Sopranos.
Right.
But that's a lot.
Yes.
And like True Detective and like Westworld. There's all these like HBO shows because I never had HBO.
Right.
I watched Game of Thrones on like bootleg, like on a shitty website.
I'm not a Game of Thrones guy.
I loved Game of Thrones. Both my dogs are named after Game of Thrones.
Right.
But I'll probably never watch it again. It's too much. I tried to start after it ended. I was like, I'm gonna start all over.
Yeah.
I got about halfway through like the second episode, and I was like, this show is so goddamn slow.
Right.
Like the cool shit doesn't happen very often.
And since you do have HBO, if you haven't checked it out yet, watch Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't watched that either.
Steve Buscemi is great. Watch that show. It's really good. It's also slow. Most HBO shows are slow.
Yeah, they're all about
6 Feet Under.
Eastbound and Down was like my HBO go-to.
Okay. Ballers.
Ballers, I did watch like 2 seasons of Ballers.
Right.
And I think I just didn't have. I might have moved.
And now that I have Stars, I want to watch Power because I've heard good things about it, but I haven't watched it. Same with American Gods. I've heard really good things about those. Now Netflix has some really good stuff.
Yeah, they're being a lot better about their having their
They
own
got
stuff.
ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff, they already have people signed up to contracts and stuff.
Yeah.
So they got ahead of the game, and a lot of their original stuff I've seen is good.
Yeah.
Like it's not just it's. Like I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like fucking
Netflix making movies.
Right, and when I think of originals, I think of sci-fi original movies, which are god awful.
I used to love them. I loved sci-fi.
Oh, they were so good. They were so bad. They were good.
Yeah.
Speaking of so bad, they were good. Have you ever seen Scarecrow Gone Wild?
No.
So it has Ken Shamrock in it as a janitor. I believe he's the janitor in the movie. And there's an evil scarecrow, and he fights Ken Shamrock.
Oh my God.
And Ken Shamrock works at like a school or whatever, and he has to protect the school from an evil scarecrow. It is an amazing, amazing movie.
That sounds like a fucking train wreck.
Yes, it is. Zombievers.
I've heard of that. Yes. Somehow I've heard of that.
Zombievers. Of course, Sharknado.
Yeah.
All the Sharknados.
Yeah.
There's a Shark Blizzard one.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they did a couple of those fucking random spin-offs of sharks and things.
Yes.
Snakes on a Plane started a whole fucking thing.
It really did. It really did.
What else can we put and where can we put it?
Yes.
That sounds like my sex life.
We talked for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked.
I have like my timer going. I was like, oh, I'll just watch. I forgot when we started going because my phone was over here. Then I was like, it's fine. It's fine. And I keep checking it. I'm like, oh,
I feel like we've talked for at least an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been at least
like an hour and a half now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like I said, I pretty much say it I think I've said it every time people are on. I would love to have you up here again, and we'll do a part 2. I always promise a part 2 because I always feel like there's a million more things we could talk about.
So much.
There's so much we could like. I really want to get more into movies and like just all that stuff. So we'll definitely do a part 2 and
absolutely
get you back up here. If you want to see a part 2, make sure you like and comment and subscribe. Ask Aaron some questions down in the comments. All that fun stuff. Make sure you share it if you see it.
Yep.
Do you have any like booking information or just social media information?
Yeah, so social media, at Grider Groove on Twitter, Aaron Grider on Facebook. I believe I'm also Grider Groove on Instagram, although I don't check Instagram as much. Booking-wise, I'm at IWA pretty much every Thursday, refereeing. We're on a hiatus right now. I work with OVW every Tuesday. Got some stuff coming up with NWF in Covington on March 27th. This may or may not air before or after that. And Rex, Lord of the Rings still sucks.
Well, I mean, if you feel like it, you wanna tell him off about Lord of the Rings, make sure you reach on out, leave a comment.
Absolutely.
Send him some shit, send me some shit. I don't care. You know what I would say. Share it if you see it. Make sure you check us out on social media. Again, thank you, brother.
Thank you,
hanging
sir.
out. It's been a good time.
Pleasure.
The first time I did not drink on a Titan Uncensored. I had an energy drink, but
maybe I'm a good influence. Maybe I need to start coming back.
Well, I had a couple beers with lunch already, so.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. I was trying to take some credit, but no, you just dashed.
I actually because I bought. You said you like root beer, so I bought a couple bottles of root beer, and I was like, I'll drink a couple Bud Lights, and he can have his root beer. And then I was still getting ready when you.
What kind of root beer did you buy? Just out of curiosity.
I bought like a 12-pack of like A&W, and then I think the bottles might be IBC.
There we go.
Maybe
now we're talking. Okay, that's fine.
You can drink them. They're all yours. I got them for you.
Nice. I love me some root beer. Root beer is like my soda, like guilty pleasure. Because I drink a lot of water now, a lot of flavored water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But root beer is my weakness.
Yeah, well, I got a bunch for you. So,
all right. Perfect.
So yes, thank you for stopping by. We're gonna go do some hanging out.
Yeah.
Make sure you do all the stuff I always say. I always forget, but do all the plugs and be excellent to each other. Be excellent to yourselves. Air guitar and smack a pedophile on your way out the door. That's a wrap. Let's go.